Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and today I'm here with a design team post from Scrapping for Less. Today I'm going to be making a double Dutch fun fold card. And to start off with, you're going to need for the card base a piece that is 9 inches by 4 3/16 inches and 2 inches by 8.5 inches. You'll need for layering pieces 4 inches by 3 1/4 and 2 inches by 1 7/8. Now I am going to tell you how to score this. So you're going to score it at 5.5 inches, the 9 by 4 3/16. And 4 3/16 is just a hair shorter than 4 1/4. Then on the 2 and 8.5 inch piece, you're going to score at 2 1/8 inches on both sides, or at 2 1/8 inches and at 6 3/8 inches. And that's all the scoring that you'll need to do for this. Now for other pieces, for the sentiment piece, you're going to need 3 different pieces, one at 2 1/4 by 3, one at 2 1/8 by 2 7/8, and then one at 1 7/8 by 2 5/8. Then you're just going to kind of start piecing everything together and layering it onto the areas. Now the fold, or the little doors that are going to go and swing sideways, you're going to end up adhering that to the back of the card. So you're just going to kind of layer each of those areas. Now if you don't want the back to kind of show that strip that's going to be there, if you use the same color cardstock, it won't matter so much. But even if you just don't want it to show the pieces adhered together, you can just cut out a back panel that's 4 by 5 1/4 inches and then just pop that onto the back panel. Now for the sentiment, I used papers from one collection, stamps from another collection, ribbon from the banana split level. So I just used a lot of different parts of this. I decided it was better because I was using distress ink to stamp the sentiment, to use the Mini Misty just to make sure that it was a good solid stamp, and I did end up having to stamp it a couple times. Now for the front sentiment, I end up using Broken China distress ink, like I said, to stamp that sentiment, and I did end up stamping it a couple times to make sure I got a good solid stamp. And with distress ink, sometimes I notice that you may have to do it when you're using it for like a sentiment or something. Now after I stamp the sentiment on here, I get my crocodile and I crop all of the corners of the pieces that are going to be adhered together, and I do them separately so that they're all the same and they can kind of fit inside of each other. Now the white portion where the sentiment is smaller than the layering pieces as far as the border around it, because I wanted a larger border so you could see the pattern paper behind it a little bit. Now once you finish up that, I was kind of going back and forth on how I wanted to decorate this, but then you're going to adhere the two pieces of the card base together. And when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that you're only gluing in the correct areas. So you're going to take the long piece, the 2 inch by 8.5 inch, and only in between the two score lines do you want the adhesive, regardless of what kind you're using. I'm just using a ATG gun there, but no matter which one. And the other thing you want to make sure is that the pattern is the correct way, if the pattern has a correct way when you put it down there. So make sure you check that out. And then that's it for the card base itself. The rest is pretty much just decorating. Now for that piece, the sentiment piece, what's going to happen is that's going to help weigh it down. Now I'm going to pop it up with some foam squares. And you want to make sure that those foam squares are not past that top panel, because otherwise it will just stick the whole card together. So you got to make sure that you only keep that on the top panel so that it lifts up easily. But that will actually help to weigh the rest of the card down. And you just want to kind of line it up, make sure it's center, and then like I said, leave that adhesive only on that top panel so you can't see it underneath it. Now, I decided to stamp a sentiment on the inside of the card, and I decided just to use some tone on tone. So I took some Hero Arts Ultra Pink and stamped the sentiment right just in the center of it, and that's all I'm going to put on the center of it. Then once I finish that up, I am just going to decorate the front of the card with some enamel dots and a double bow. So I just kind of decided where I wanted to put that. I took some enamel dots from a couple of the kits, and I am just going to adhere those into the areas. And that is it for this kit. Like I said, if you wanted to, you could put that back panel on. I did not, but you just pop the panel on the very back of the card once you're complete with everything. And that's it. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Make sure you head over to Scrapping for Less. With the store closing, there are sales. The entire store is 40% off at this point. So make sure you go check that out, see what's left over there. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Everybody stay healthy. Have a great day. See ya.